While you're enjoying the TAB State Championships, what about experiencing some of the other iconic attractions in the Dubbo region in your free time? Meet incredible wildlife at Taronga Western Plains Zoo. Step inside the historic Old Dubbo Jail. Discover the inspiring Royal Flying Doctor Service visitor experience and explore the spectacular Wellington Caves. If you've got a little extra time, make the most of your visit. Head to dubboregion.com.au/visit and start planning your adventure today.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome back to Club Dubbo. We're here with you. It's going to be women's singles. It's semi-final time. And we're going to see what we hope will be a great game between perhaps the unlikely Dale Nuttall from Belrose. She's up against, well, a noted international, region, state star and champion Natasha van Eldik. Players are just completing their second trial end, and then we'll be getting underway. So it's Belrose versus Raymond Terrace in this semi-final. In the other semi-final next door, we've got Natalie Lewis up against Sarah Boddington. So Maryland's versus Foster in that one. We look forward to bringing you all of the action here today. Tasha's got one of the sponsors' hats on this morning. It's nice to see. We had our friends from the TAB, of course, the sponsors of the TAB State Championships here yesterday. Rowan Wilson walked away with $500 and as the race tipping champion. And he's going to be in action this morning in the men's semi-final. So I'm just going to run the ticker through at the bottom of your screen. You can see all the games that happening today. It's semi-finals here in the singles, and it's going to be in our live stream match. Natasha van Eldik for Raymond Terrace up against Dale Nuttall for Belrose. Looks as though Dale Nuttall has been given the mat by Tash, and she will get our game underway. So for Natasha van Eldik, probably always started favourite in her section, but didn't necessarily have it all her own way. 25-17 winner over Ella Cameron in the first game. Ella played very, very well from all reports. Joanne Merkel from Holbrook kept her out there a long time as well. 25-16 was her scoreline there to Natasha van Eldik, and then a convincing win over Lisa Caswell from Banno Bay in the final round. So Tash still undefeated, not quite unchallenged though. And it's going to be Dale Nuttall who's going to look to break that here. She gets us underway here at Club Dubbo. Nick Hind is my name. Fantastic to have your company wherever you're watching around Australia or around the world. I've been told there's a drinking game being started with that, so get your shot glasses ready, folks. And it's an early toucher for Dale Nuttall. Just sliding past. Catching the edges of the jack. Beautiful morning here in the Golden West. We're here at fabulous Club Dubbo. And we see Tash just sliding past. We thank all of our splendid host clubs, Club Dubbo, North Dubbo, RSL Sporties, and the Macquarie Club, where I've been for the last couple of days. And some indifferent weather, but the sun is now shining. So let us know where you are watching. Here comes Dale. Just going to get down and sit Tash here. Good start. Let us know where you're watching. Let us know who you're cheering for as well, because there's some very well credentialed players in this field. And you can see, well, that's the ability of Natasha van Eldik. Draws a beautiful side touch there. Dale looking to persevere on this, the left-handed backhand. for Dale. She probably got a little bit of respite in her section. Dawn Heyman, who was the qualifier for Metro Southwest, had to withdraw as she manages some just minor niggles before her Commonwealth Games campaign. So for Dale Nuttall, only 2 games played, but she knocked over Diane from Glenbrook 25-21, and then got past Danielle Thompson 25-23. Another great shot there from Tash. Dale, I expect we'll need to play this with a little bit more positivity. Just looking to get some contact. Doesn't have to go silly at it, but just enough to get some contact, get a little split, get this jack moving. She's in a very good area here. Dale. Well, that's a super shot. Hasn't quite made number 1. Let's have a look at that again while Tash walks back to the mat. You can see, played it with good intent. Didn't quite get the split perfectly. Just got caught a little bit too much of the front bowl, but she's made second shot. But Tash now, well, she can plant that last maroon bowl of Dale and make an early count of 3. Slip through, is she? Well, that might still be 2. Director Deb Brown is out there looking after us. She's been looking after us beautifully with cups of tea, packets of biscuits, drink vouchers. 1 shot is only to Tash. So 1-0. We've had 1 end completed. Tash now has the mat and just rolling vaguely towards the 2 metre mark there. And Di Boddington, of course, watching on from Thailand, and you won't need more than one guess as to who she's cheering for. Sarah in action next door. And she'll be looking to add to what is already a very impressive resume, as will Natasha van Eldik. Dale Nuttall. She's going to play backhand around the clock here. Interesting early tactics, maybe just trying to feel out both sides of the rink. Tasha. She's zooming in on this very early. Mark watching from the Philippines. We're an international audience here. That's why I say around Australia and around the world. Brilliant to have your company. And brilliant to bring you these beautiful pictures here from Club Dubbo. The sun is shining. We have a much improved forecast for the remainder of this event. Mark and Nerida watching from Boston. So, intercontinental audience. Tash just taking her time there to feel properly set. She'll be looking to turn down one of her front bowls. I'll slip past, get to the jack. That's going to be 3. And it's 3 in a pretty much straight line. There's nothing really else on for Dale here. Just going to sort of take her medicine and try to draw this. This looks to be a more likely track still. The speed is a little bit over. A very light breeze this morning, so And the players should be able to play both hands with relative confidence. I'll show you in a moment the confidence that was displayed yesterday from Peter Taylor. If you haven't seen that bowl yet, I'll bring that up for you shortly. Tash now. There's some spectators moving around behind the rink. Yeah, there's just a little bit going on there, and she's taking her time. Green staff getting green number 1 prepared as well. And Tash looking for an early 4 count here. She'll be quite happy to nestle in amongst that pack. Doesn't give a shelf. Hasn't got anything past Jack High though, so it's a little bit more exposed now. And for Dale Nuttall, play this on the tight side with good weight. I think she's out too wide there, and this is looking, it's going to be a 4 count. Yes. That speed was good, but needed to be on a tighter track. And for those who are playing Bowls New South Wales Bingo at home, here's the telestrator. Needed to be down into the pack, into the shot bowl, rather than around you. And nothing for wide with that shot. And it's going to be a full count for Natasha Van Eldik of 4. So it's 5 shots to 0 after 2 completed ends. Tasha's got plan A here with the mat, so I'll find a new camera preset for that one. And this looks to be a little bit shorter of a length. Deb Brown has done sterling service for us, as I say. Judy's watching from Merimbula. I'm sure she's going to be excited to get here with the juniors. Looking forward to all the action of the Junior 7-a-side series coming up the back end of next week. We'll have 14 regions represented, some in composite format. And we also welcome our friends from the ACT region who come and play in this great event, the Junior 7-a-side. So that all commences on Friday with a coaching afternoon, and then Saturday and Sunday we have our matches there. I'll be with you in commentary for some of that, so stay tuned. And Judy's also likely to be cheering on Rowan Wilson, who is potentially going to be in his second final of this program. So for somebody who is a semi-reluctant singles player, it's good from Dale there. Played good weight. Rowan Wilson is a chance of making the final in that event and potentially winning 2 state titles with an opportunity for a third to come. So Merimbula will feature in the 4s as well with Wilkes and Wilson. See the intent there from Natasha. Just sliding past and just sliding in alongside me. It's a very good morning and welcome to the great Lee Stinson. Although Pam Hawkins has just turned up to maybe slow us down. Well, there you go. Pam's turned up. Lee picked up the headset and was distracted. How many seconds, I think, was the question there from Natasha. So I'm going to expect some weight here. Not silly weight, just controlled, looking to sit the shot bowl. She's going to grab the jack on the way through. Which way is that going? It's bounced around. That's going to work. And Dale's going to trot up and have a Captain Cook. We'll have a look at that replay. So you can see, just controlled from Natasha Van Eldik. You know, she misses tight. She gets the shot bowl. That was probably plan A. Misses on the wide side. She can do something like that. And she's made at least one shot. Dale Nuttall will probably know better than I which one is second. But plenty of room for a player to get in and draw this. And Dale, well, she's lined up backhand again. Can turn through the maroon bowl at the front or get down to the yellow bowl of Natasha and sit that for shot. Just going to miss on the high side. You can see though the pace. Once again playing with good intent. And it will be at least one to Natasha. But I'll wait on our marker Deb to confirm exactly what it is. And 1-2. It is a 7-zip to Tash. Scores rolling through from the other matches at the bottom of your picture. So thank you to our support team, the markers, the volunteers, the scoreboard attendants. Once again, it's an enormous effort as a state finals host, and well, Club Dubbo do it just about as good as you could hope. Magnificent start there from Tash. And now for the first time, I think all game, we're going to see the forehand of Dale, the left-handed forehand. Clearly looks to be favouring playing backhand wherever possible, but not really optimal in this setup. Tash now, well, she'll keep going on the backhand and we'll look to add pressure. Right, well, the threat was there, viewers, and I've been able to pull him back in here. So, for the very first time, once again, welcome in Lee Stinson.
Thanks very much, Nick. Yeah, just attended to organising some bit of background music outside. So, our umpires were boogieing away down there, down in front of the speakers.
That was distracting a few players, was it? Pam Hawkins and Don getting...
More so the umpires. Unfortunately, the speakers, probably to where the players are, wasn't really broadcasting the music, but it's quite loud at the corner of the building where the umpires are located. So they were concerned they weren't going to hear the calls from around the greens. But good attentive umpires that we have. I'm sure they're watching every rink, just looking out for potential measures. I think that's the best way to umpire, Nick, isn't it? Just have a look around and see when the players get the measure out of the pocket, be ready and have a look. Oh, is that a foot away? Is that 6 feet? Get the equipment in hand and ready to go.
Well, we've got the cream of the crop in terms of umpires here. Of course, Pam Hawkins, John Rodis, some of the best credentialed. Our man Don as well from Mudgee.
Don Corliss, over from Mudgee as well. Yeah, thanks to Don for being part of it. And missed a few ends here, Nick, but just looking at the scoreboard, it appears that Tash has started off the better of our two players today.
Yeah, look, I think Dale's going to find this is going to be a real test for her. She's played some good bowls the first couple of ends. The last time coming this direction, they missed quick on all four, and Natasha punished.
She's playing into a hard shot here, trying to thread the needle between the yellows. That might have been a time, Nick, to have a punt, try and run the jack in the ditch on the other side of the green. Not sure if that's in Dale's repertoire, but state of the game, 7-0 down. You can see very, very narrow window there between the yellow bowls to come through. It might have been worth a punt, as some may say.
Well, Natasha's going to go and confirm. I think it's going to be 2 shots here.
Yeah, I think we can tick that across. Couple there for Natasha Van Eldik. She got the sponsor's hat on.
Yes, no, I've already pointed that out. So we had a sponsor activation yesterday. So Natasha has clearly won a minor prize. I did say Rowan Wilson got the major prize of $500. So despite being, he's already won a state title, he's a chance of winning another one today. He's got a chance in the fours later in the week. And he's got 500 out of the tabs pocket. He'll be absolutely chuffed with that.
Nearly getting back to break-even position for the week.
Well, Michael Wilkes did tell us this morning.
Big trip from Merimbula and plenty of nights of accommodation.
Yeah, Michael Wilkes did tell us this morning, though, that Rowan has been very reluctant to shout so far. It's all been Wilkes buying the cups of tea.
I did see it was Mrs. Wilson's birthday just before they came, so maybe to Mallory, there's a gift coming back to you at some point in time. These pretty good conditions this morning, Nick. You probably already touched on it, but been overcast, hasn't it, last few days? Dry, but overcast. But full beam of sunshine today. Great for our players, and probably more importantly, great for the greens keepers here at Club Dubbo. They've had to endure pretty steady rain, I'd call it, in the 3 or 4 weeks leading up to our championships. Would have rained, probably anywhere between 30 and 100 mil each week across all of that time. And given we're in the cooler part of our year, and guessing they're not getting a lot of natural growth out of these greens at the moment. So they're doing it tough, but they look a picture, mate, don't they? Even, I know on camera, but even out when we go around the greens, they look amazing.
Oh, Darren is an absolute masterful greenkeeper, and there is not a blade of grass out of place here this morning.
Done a superb job. 3 or 4 years ago, Nick, when we first came out to cover their International Fours tournament, they'd had some battles through drought periods here in central west New South Wales and heavy water restrictions by the council, and there was just nothing that Darren and the team could do, unfortunately, just given the restrictions posed upon them. As Tash, another great bowl there, up on her forehand, draws in another. So no, they've come back strong, and of course, given we've been using 16 rinks throughout across the 3 greens, it's allowed him to spread the wear. Being a sort of 17-day campaign, they can spread things out. And that green you see up at the top of your picture in there behind Dale is where we'll be streaming our final this afternoon. Good intent there. Gave a little chance up to play through those bowls. As you can see there, a couple at the back of the rink. So
Tash having a look for third, but my favourite, it's going to be... Oh, the front one looks good on that picture. On the other one, I'm less convinced, though. So we'll see. It's at least 2 shots to Natasha.
We're just checking there, Nick, I guess, whether... if she does play weight again, Dale could get both bowls out without moving the jack. So Tash just checking whether she wants to draw a third shot or whether she wants to get down to the back of the rink.
I'm back here to put the pressure on here, Leroy. Can do a little bit of both here, cover and count. This looks to be on a...
Didn't like it.
Tight
Out
line.
of the hand. We might know who third shot is after this.
Yeah, well, it's going to be Dale.
Yeah, you would sense it was close before. So, Dale, I think you play pretty firm with this. Don't lose any weight off your last. Rumble up through those bowls. Yeah, get the bowl onto the jack or remove the 2 yellows.
We were talking about this last night. I've already said to our viewers, Leroy, that there is Bowls New South Wales bingo cards available now. So the telestrator's been ticked off early. And, well, Dale Nuttall, she'll be a bit ticked off about that. She's missed her line twice. As you say, the intent was good.
Yeah, played the right shot. Happy with that? So all you can do is play the right shot. Whether you execute or not's another story. Ladies are just going to double check. So
Tash more enthusiastic about number 3.
Well, that indicates she was pretty confident than she was 3 before moving it forward 6 or 7 inches.
I feel like she might be not quite.
Looks like 2 paddles.
So 11 zip, so early doors here for Dale Nuttall. Just feel it's going to be important just to get one, get two, maybe get on the board.
Yeah, back-to-back ends. Yeah, but can be a long game. Singles, of course. You can claw away in ones, and I think that's what you have to do at the moment. As you said, first aim for Dale is to win an end, and then look to string some together. Tash, of course, would be acutely aware she's the more experienced player out here on the rink in terms of achievements. So she'll be wanting to race through this and keep Dale on zero as long as possible. She kicks off well.
That's how you do it, Leroy. No, I think, as you say, Natasha's experience at the highest level, the very highest level, is coming to the fore, quite obviously. And for Dale, up in class, but a good chance to test yourself and understand your own game a little bit better. This is good here from Dale.
Yeah, well played. Up a bit further. Awfully close. We'll get a good indication here from our marker, hopefully. Measure but favour Natasha as one, the call. Obviously, you and I were at different venues for other disciplines yesterday. Nick, had a good performance from Dale to get through in her section.
Yeah, I ran through all the section results, and Natasha didn't have it all her own way either in her section. Was pushed by Ella Cameron, was pushed by Joanne Merkel from Holbrook. Kept her out there a long time was the report, but I had a couple of marathons at my venue yesterday. I was at Macquarie, and Eric Johannes and Rick Roper played an absolute, it was a belter of a game. I do feel for both those players. Rick Roper got the win, but neither of them progressed. Paul Leckie, on margins, was able to sneak through. So one of those rare occasions. It happened here as well too with Rowan Wilson and Daniel Jessup. Lockie Thompson, very, very close section. And we can see here there's some pretty well matched players in a lot of these sections. So see how we go.
Let's get back to the jack here.
Oh, I'll tell you what, she's very close, Leroy.
Just shy.
One bowl short.
Left that down in the way. I think for Dale, time to change hands. Try and tip your own in on the left-hand side of the screen would be the plan.
Yeah, left-handed backhand. Even if she gets down to the yellow bowl, she can maybe roll that over once.
She's
get the
lined
split
up that way. Yeah. Good to see a left-hander in action.
We've not seen many so far on the live streaming, have we? David Govan didn't get along here for his usual go. The great Billy Masters lurking here, Leroy. We could have a whole trio of commentators for once this morning.
Well, we did send the message out to Billy that if she wanted to jump on with her clubmate Dale being in action, so I might hand over the cans to Billy, mate, to take up my spot, and I might come and join you later on.
You can go and do some stuff with the great rookies competition. We'll go and get that draw to put together. Bit of work to be done there. We've closed rookie singles nominations just recently, but if you did miss out, we do have waiting lists available, so you can contact Bowls New South Wales staff. Just watch this bowl get down here, and welcome to State Match Committee member and Belrose Bull, Billy Mars.
Well, good morning, Nick, and it is actually a very beautiful morning this morning. Crisper than it has been some of the other mornings, but the sunshine today is just gorgeous.
Yeah, lovely to see, and lovely to have the players out there. Light winds, clear skies, and the green looks to have freed up a little bit too, I think, in terms of pace. And for Dale Nuttall, though, this is a big challenge for your young ward here. She's going to be tested.
Well, it is, Nick. Yes, we're actually staying in the same house as Dale over the last few days, and I can tell you she did not expect to be in this position today. Obviously, the withdrawal of Dawn Heyman from that section left it pretty wide open for the rest of them, and there were some very good and very tight games played with the three girls who were in this particular section. But
she's
Dale's
played this much better
certainly
here.
Played it better, but
Yeah,
there
she'll
she
do.
goes.
That'll get
yes,
shot.
that'll
Well
make her
done.
happy. She certainly, over the last few days, has played some beautiful bowls. Obviously, anybody going up against Tash in this contest is going to be pretty under the pump. But I have to say, having watched some of Tash's games yesterday as well, some of the competitors that have got out there have not looked the slightest bit overawed by it. They may have felt that way, but it didn't look that way to the spectators. I've been taking an interest in some of the games that have been there, and Tash has certainly been pushed a bit at times there.
Yes, we mentioned I've been hearing, we have our little round tables of an evening at back at the house and hearing that Natasha, she's standing there, here comes Dale, just going to maybe remove one of the coats. You can see the flags fluttering. It's a beautiful day. But I've heard that both Joanne Merkel and Ella Cameron pushed Natasha in their games, and
they did indeed. I mean, Ella certainly took it to Tash the first day, and Ella also then completely demolished her opponent yesterday.
Yeah.
Just carried on playing really very steady bowls, which is what we would expect to see from her. I always thought that contest between Ella and Tash was going to be a beauty. And I've been fortunate enough to be here in Dubbo over the last few days, able to watch some of these things, because even watching the live stream, of course, you don't still get quite the appreciation of the tone of the game necessarily when you're slightly removed behind the screen, great as the coverage is. But no, Ella performed beautifully, and then Joanne also had the fight going to Tash really right up until the end. Tash did play an excellent conversion right down the end of the game to get that game sealed, but it did look as though that could have gone on a few more ends and the score would have been even tighter than it finished up. However, as I said, Dale knew that she'd just have to get out here and do her best to put her bowls down, not be overawed by the situation. And it's the first time that Dale has been live streamed. That always comes into it a bit too.
A little bit of anxiety there perhaps, but we've seen a few players who've been nervous, but
well, Dale's got a very cheerful attitude to the game. She definitely doesn't take it the way some do and get all bottled up about things. She just keep putting those bowls down, and Dale's a bit inclined if there's a piece of bad fortune that goes along the way. Dale's the sort of player who'll just laugh that off, whereas some of us get a bit uptight about some of those things, but that's not Dale's nature.
No, she's been playing creditably so far. As we say, this is one of the favourites in this field, Natasha. But Dale there, she's played good weight with her last bowl, finished in an excellent home.
Yes, she did.
But for Tash, this just...
Oh, look, the general conditions of the green, I think, are just beautiful for bowlers this morning. And so a player of Tash's calibre, you would expect her to just keep putting in, as she has done with her opening two bowls on this end, just keep putting in those very reliable, nicely weighted shots.
From Dale, you can see, once again, a little bit of intent there. She was playing that yard over shot, and that is certainly viable today. It's a good shot.
Dale does have a liking for playing just a little heavy and narrow at things. I've played with her and against her quite a few times, and of course I always have to make that adjustment with Dale being a left-hander to actually quite predict where things are going with Dale, because the way the right-handers would have played it and the tack that she takes sometimes is not what you'll get out of the bowl when it's being played to the opposite hand than we would do. See how Dale goes with... Just make a correction with a little bit more width on it. Should be pointed it well.
Good track here. If she can get down underneath that second shot, or she's rolled it through, maybe not quite far enough. Certainly cut down what was a 3 count. And we're now down to...
She has. Just hard from the angle in here to really tell whether she pushed Tash's bowl. I would have thought perhaps not, looking at the couple of rolls that Tash's did, but the marker seems to be indicating it would be a measure on the second shot now.
Very good. I've got plenty more comments coming through. Andrew's manned the albatross. Yes, we are giving Andrew a day off. He was a bit weary yesterday. It's been a big campaign for all of us. And Dicko's suggesting that maybe we should have a quiz as part of our coverage. I've suggested that we've got bingo cards available for different things, but it's going to be Tash dropping short there. You can see the head went down. She backed herself to draw that and potentially draw up to her own and make a 3 again. We'll see how many Dale surrenders. One out, and then Tash very quickly out with the tape measure. Kim's watching from Parks. Vince watching from Leppington. Plenty of people just saying good morning. Josh reminding us this is Natasha's last event as a Raymond Terrace jet. Recently made the move to Maitland City. It is two shots to Natasha.
Yes, it certainly has caused a fair bit of interest with Tash making the move of clubs, because it's been such a long time that she's been at Raymond Terrace there, and to have made the move now does certainly cause a lot of stir around the bowling community. Everybody watches out the Facebook pages for those sorts of announcements, and the word goes around pretty fast when you see a player of Tash's stature make the switch. And of course Jen Delves has gone across with her.
Oh, we've got a couple of big moves recently, of course. I mean, Corey Wedlock off to Maryland
yes,
was
certainly
a big
caused
one,
a lot of interest.
Uh,
And I see that Corey settled in very well at Maryland's already, been doing some good work with schools program, kids that have been there, and what a thrill for them to be able to actually be on the green with a player like Corey.
Yes, we wish him and all of the Australian team the very best for the Commonwealth Games, only a couple of weeks away. This is a great start here from Dale.
It's a very nice bowl.
Yeah, beautifully done. Now, let's see how aggressive Natasha is. Holding a bigger lead early. I'm wondering if she might be inclined to play with some real aggression here.
Tash isn't afraid to play those big weight shots, even though others might look at that and say, well, it's only one down and she's got a big lead. But, here we go, a bit of an errant bowl. I wondered why Tash was taking the time on the mat there, but we couldn't see that coming in from the edge. Yes, there's why. She was just held up with a bowl that got a bit out of control from the next ring. No, Tash isn't playing the big weight at this, but yesterday she was. Sometimes when there was just the one bowl in contention like that, Tash was making the big move to just totally change everything up.
Well,
but she has got a big buffer to play with at the moment. However, Dale is capable of stringing a few good bowls like that together in a row, so be interesting to see, but I think she's just pushed this one a bit wide. I think she will also be aware that you definitely need something in behind when you're playing against Tash. Can't afford to be just dropping your bowls out short and hoping that Tash will miss you.
Now, we did see, and I'll bring it up in just a moment, we saw some real aggression yesterday from one of our competitors. Natasha's still just going to look to try just over the draw this time. To get down to the jack, squeeze it off.
Well, also with Dale having dropped that bowl in behind, Tash can't afford to not touch the jack and just punch the jack through there when Dale had the better back at the time.
She can now, though. You can see that yellow bowl lurking underneath the number.
Definitely.
And as Dale Nuttall delivers, looking to add on here, back touch is going to be really, really good.
Just coming through in the front, but she's going to finish in the count.
That's a good home. That's two. This was the bowl that I'm talking about yesterday, though. This was Peter Taylor. The jack went on the tee. It's 24-15. And he said, onwards and up yours to Brett Spur. Ran it straight into the number, if you don't mind, as well. That's the sort of aggression we can see in the singles competitions. And back live here, I wonder if we are going to see some aggression now from Natasha. Oh, she's turning the mat over. That's telling me she's going to whack this. Probably one of the players with the most power in the women's game. And it is Tash with big weight. Can clear a lot out here. Goes bang, crash, wallop, and Dale Nuttall floats
Dale's
around.
Still holding on for one out of all of that. I thought for a minute Tash was going to actually punch her own bowl through clean and end with nothing. She did yesterday make a play like that and took everything of her own off the green completely and left Joanne with the entire green to draw a third shot. In fact, the marker had already put the 3 up on the scoreboard before Joanne even played it. So
you
he
do
was
have to make it a certain distance out of one's hand, though.
He obviously took the punt that bowl would be delivered beyond the minimum 14 metres and not through to the ditch. So Joanne only had to get past the minimum amount, and she was scoring 3, and the marker had already notched it up onto the board. So Tash did yesterday find on one occasion that sort of play did not pay off.
Well, let's have a look at Natasha's big drive once again here. You can see she flipped the mat over. That's often a good indication with her. Wants maximum grip so she can deliver with maximum power, efficiency. It is a booming drive, and was able to clear 2 out of the 3 in the head. But Dale Nuttall did float around. And back live now. Dale Nuttall 2 trails Natasha Van Eldik 13. So change of tactics here from Dale. She's lobbed the jack all the way up onto the tee, so playing a longer length.
Looking at the use of the drive in singles play, it used to be the maximum. People used to say that, well, you only drive twice in singles, once to get to the match and once to get home again. However, watching the game between Tails and Brett Spur yesterday, it got off to a start the way they were going to play it. They killed the first end. They carried on smashing everything over the first few ends, and you realise this is not the sort of singles play that the usual back at the club bowler would be engaged in. And comments were being made on the sidelines about whether or not it is the policy of how you're going to win a singles game to just be attacking like that. But I heard people saying, yes, but these boys do it very well. And you'll see that really sets some of these players apart, that those who really have a very accurate drive will employ it that way. I did also see Nick Cale at one point yesterday endeavouring to plant the jack into the ditch with his opening bowl, just as the replay of Peter Taylor doing so that you showed. And in his case, it didn't come off, and he knuckled under and played more conservatively with his remaining 3 bowls. However, it's certainly a tactic that can be used very effectively by those who have really mastered the drive.
Yeah, it's low percentage, but equally, when you have the confidence and the ability of somebody like Peter Taylor or Nick Cahill or Natasha Van Eldik, that can often work for you. Tasha's trailed the jack probably to Dale Nuttall, I feel here. The shadow likes it for red, and that's exactly what the indication is from our great marker, Deborah Brown. Craig Gardner saying, well, Dale's played very cannily here. She's got Natasha onto 13. I think Craig's suggesting that he might have been stuck on 13 a few times. And Prescott Smith watching from Windang, Carmen's telling us that she's seen Tash break a few jacks. I don't doubt that. Not bad here from Dale. She's just going to slip around the back. You can see once again the intent.
She's in a useful place behind. Tash, of course, can still just get Dale's bowl out quite cleanly and leave the rest of her bowl sitting without disturbing the jack at all. So we'll see how she goes with this.
Well, she's on the trot here. I favour she likes it. Calling for it to get down now to get to the red bowl. Close. Got her own.
Close, but not.
Well, I thought she might nearly have rolled back, tipped the red bowl back onto the jack, which we've seen from time to time. Deborah Brown saying it still is 1. And
she has made it tricky for Dale to get a second out of this, though, without doing the same sort of thing herself, because if she were now to set her own bowl just on that rocking onto the jack, it could well go back into that front bowl of Tash's. So
I think drawing a front touch is about your best plan here if you're Dale Nuttall.
She's got to try and get between the jack and that front one.
She's played excellent line once again. No touch on the yellow. Doesn't want to tip that shot bowl back onto the jack. It's given it a little bit of coverage, but I think for Natasha we're going to see a very, very similar shot. If she can get the split on the yellow bowl with the red bowl there, I feel the red bowl will go out of the head and she'll stay around for 2 or 3. The only thing is maybe a little bit of jack movement down the line can give Dale Nuttall 2 shots, but that's fairly unlikely. And we're seeing...
I think Tash has just pulled that a bit tight.
See Natasha, that was just over draw weight, so had the line for a much more aggressive shot. So it's going to be 1 again to Dale.
And much as I don't actually have any faith in the idea of getting people stuck on 13, even though I know sometimes people out there on the green say, oh, we've got them on 13 now, we'll be right, we'll keep them there for a bit. But I don't think that matters at all. However, just at the moment, it's working in Dale's favour that she's actually been able to get another one on the board. I think the first time that I was in Dale's situation and had to play somebody of Tash's sort of calibre, somebody said before I set off for this Champion of Champions event about how I'd go against this person, and I said, well, I want to make 3 shots. They said, 3? And I said, well, I'm not sure I'll make any shots at all, but I said, 3, I like 3. It's a very nice round number. It takes up quite a bit of space on the board. 1 is just a lonely little stroke on the board. 2's a bit airy and angular looking, but once you get to 3, it's kind of got a bit of substance to it, and it can make you feel a bit better.
3's a crowd.
It is, indeed it is. So I think that now that Dale's made the 3 mark and she's got something that looks actually visible from a distance on the scoreboard, it does sometimes, it's just small little things like that that can just give you a little bit of a boost.
Well, as you say that, Billy Mast, it's the commentator's curse. She's probably dropped that one out of her hand and dropped the head immediately. So Natasha, I expect will pounce here.
You would expect Tash to actually just put in a really nice bowl while the going is good. I do so often see that where people have just taken their eye off the ball for a little moment and let their opponents have that first crack at it with nothing in the way. As you see Tash coming in, she also I think would be a little bit disappointed with that being a bit dropped out in front short. It's not really in Dale's way if Dale can just make the correction.
Waiting for a player of Natasha's ability, anything outside of Matt.
Exactly. It's a different standard to others.
It's pretty ordinary, but Dale's just going to slide past.
She is, but she may well be in with that bowl. Marker being asked to look at it.
That's the question from Natasha, and it is 1 yellow paddle in the air, so 1 to Tash. We thank our volunteers at this club and all our host venues once again for their fabulous support here at Club Dubbo, North Dubbo RSL Sporties and the Macquarie Club. 3 fantastic clubs if you're here in the Midwest, the Golden West. But today we're here at Club Dubbo. It's semi-final and final day here at the TAB State Championships. This is the singles, and it's Nick Hind and Billy Mast with you here as we watch Natasha Van Eldik holding what is currently a commanding lead, but Dale has won 2 ends in a row, and that will give her some confidence, Billy.
Yes, it will. She's put in a nice bowl here. She's just got the running up a bit.
Does.
She's certainly beating the front bowl of Tash's, but the shot could still be out jack high.
No, red paddle.
Yeah, she's done well with that. I have to say, Nick, that as a region administrator as well and being involved in running a lot of things around and knowing how hard it can sometimes be to get enough volunteers for things, seeing the complete army of West Dubbo Roos players in their uniforms arriving on the scene for the singles with the markers and also the scoreboard attendants on duty, and then they came in for the lunch break yesterday. They all came out as a crowd after lunch to begin again in the afternoon. Looking at the enthusiasm with which those volunteers have gone about the job, it is impressive. Really nice to see that a host club has got access to so many willing helpers.
Yes, and we're so pleased of all the support we've been offered at this club by the River Rats at Macquarie and also by the Rhinos at the Crash of Rhinos at the Dubbo City North Dubbo RSL Sporties. So if you're in the, and also I must commend, there's some visiting supporters, fans, spectators who volunteer their services as markers, as umpires. And I've been really pleased to see that. Now, Dale's a chance of making a multiple here. Natasha looks to be a little bit firm.
Yes, it's interesting because when Dale's bowl came in there, I thought, oh, as a skip, that's the sort of bowl I sort of wish a player hadn't put in, because that jack-high bowl sitting in tight like that is such an invitation and broadens that target. But it's unusual to see Tash not being on the mark with that. So Dale certainly made herself 2 here.
So, well, she's
Just
done.
take a look at that third one. No need for the tape.
Well, she's done well here. So, after trailing 11 shots to 0, it's now 13 shots to 5. So, Dale Nuttall's just found her range a little bit more. Natasha's going to lose the jumper. And it is warming up. It's currently 11 degrees, according to my my device. But this sunshine and without the wind, it's going to feel much, much more pleasant than that for a lot of our players, when we can see, yes, garments are being shed across the rinks.
Well, the breeze is picking up a bit, Nick. Looking at the trees, I keep looking at them and thinking they're quite still. But when you look at the flags, the various pennant flags that West Dubbo have got flying on the pole there, and their own club banners, the wind has certainly started to pick up. They were saying it would get more so as the day went on. Oh, Dale's making a nice start.
Actually making a bird of this, isn't she? So some good games going on, and you can see they've just slipped through on the bottom of your screen. Colleen Starr from Tuncurry Beach having a very good start. Coral Nathan, Barbara Shotland, 7-all after 7.
Yes, that was a close game. As I arrived, they'd only played the first 3 or 4 ends, and that was already close where Barbara Shotland was playing.
Craig's gone off to a good start in the reserves, and Glenn Evans, who I was very impressed by, he looked very good from Campbelltown. He was at the Macquarie Club for the last few days, very composed. Only a new bowler, been playing for 2 years, but he's the sort of player who this reserve competition can give some visibility to. And well, we saw last year, of course, with the reserve championships, the pairs winners, Josh Ingram, Jordan Mullaney, they're now playing platinum for Wenty Leagues, if you don't mind. And Josh, of course, went on to win the singles as well. So an opportunity to give yourself some real visibility as a reserve state championship winner.
Yes, those players have certainly made their mark. That was their one crack at reserves. They made the most of it, but they weren't going to hang around in those lower grades to be in reserves for too long.
No, they quickly graduated from Austral Grade 5 to Austral Grade 1 and now to Wenty Leagues
That's
Platinum.
right.
So you can see how quickly players can make the jump. It's currently 1 shot to Dale. She's made a jump as well on the scoreboard. So keeping it close.
She has improved the weight a bit there, but lost her line narrow. And I think that she's left herself with nothing sitting in behind. Tash still got 2 bowls in the arsenal.
Well, I wonder, Billy Mars, whether or not just with the sun and that little breeze picking up at the green, might just be getting a little bit more pace into it. A little bit more finish, perhaps. Dale's asking what the situation is. Still 1. I think it's very important for her to get something past, if she can cover and count something into about there.
That would be a lovely place for her to finish. That's why she's come to have a bit of a look at it, because she also can't risk coming through and pushing her own bowl through unless she hangs around where that bowl is. If she were to play what would be her forehand and manoeuvre that shot bowl into the spot you were looking at, Nick, and hang around herself, that would give her something really to work with. But on the other hand, she couldn't afford to play that too heavy and take herself out. I'm feeling though she's still coming the other way, trying to get past Tash at the front and onto those bowls behind.
Well, as you say, played good weight consistently on this left-handed backhand. So knows the speed, and now she knows the line pretty well. This is going to finish very close to my dot.
Very close to your dot. It is splitting the two, so she hasn't covered the front edge of Tash's bowl there in case the trail only goes slightly. And if Tash were to tuck it in behind, Tash could still make 3 out of that. However, Tash may also choose to come the other way and just push Dales through, and that would leave her with a multiple.
Well, this is very good. I've just figured out on how to use on our telestrator. I can have a yellow colour for when Natasha's playing with her yellow bowls, and I can have a red colour for when Dale's
You do like this technology thing, don't you, Nick?
Look at, there was a suggestion last night that there's been drinking games established about some of my catchphrases and what Andrew does, and so I'm trying to ensure everybody's got the opportunity to make themselves a cup of tea this morning. I'm going to see Natasha, she can sneak past. She's going to very
There
close.
you are. She just was that fraction tight, got the rub off her own instead of just sneaking past. For a while, I thought it was looking on a pretty good line.
Well, as Natasha goes for a comfort stop, I believe it's going to be one shot to Dale, but I'll just take you around what's going on here so you can see beautiful clear skies, the sun is shining, light breeze, plenty of spectators around here for the singles today. It's fantastic to...
You can see those flags, though, Nick, where the breeze really is now picking up. The trees are still looking quite still. I'm surprised around here. I'm not used to that in Sydney. If we looked around with the lightness of the leaves on all the eucalypts that we'd have, you'd see them really moving about a bit. But here, the trees sort of are more solid types of trees
they're
around.
Probably tough.
Tough trees. That's exactly what I'm saying. They're nice trees out in the country. They're quite tough. They sort of look very calm out there, and it's not until you see little things like the flags really flapping that you realise it's just an illusion.
Well, while we're waiting on Natasha to come back, I will remind everybody, of course, we do thank all our host venues, but there's some other things that are coming up that I would encourage you to get involved with. So the over 40 pairs entries do close on the 11th of August, so make sure you get your entries in for that. The rookie pairs qualifying is still open. The rookie singles has closed. We're going to be getting that draw hopefully out to you this week. And, of course, the BPL Cup, make sure that you check that out. But we're also going to hear from Andrew Lynn, all about what you can see around the beautiful Dubbo region. And we'll be back with you in 30 seconds.
While you're enjoying the TAB State Championships, what about experiencing some of the other iconic attractions in the Dubbo region in your free time? Meet incredible wildlife at Taronga Western Plains Zoo. Step inside the historic Old Dubbo Jail, discover the inspiring Royal Flying Doctor Service visitor experience, and explore the spectacular Wellington Caves. If you've got a little extra time, make the most of your visit. Head to dubboregion.com.au/visit and start planning your adventure today.
Well, another great read from Andrew Lynn there. It's remarkable how he can do that. Oh, he's not even in the venue, but...
it's a special
he's
technique that
he's
Andrew
very
has
skilled.
for injecting himself into things when he's not even here.
Very skilled, Lenny. So he's enjoying the day off. Nick Hind is my name. I've got Billy Mars alongside me today. It's fantastic to have your company around Australia or around the world here at beautiful Club Dubbo. It was one shot in the end to Dale, and she will just march on a little bit. I'll bring the scoreboard back up for you here, and it is now 13 shots to 6. So,
well, she's won a few ends in a row there, Nick, which will be giving her a bit of rhythm and confidence going, because instead of scrambling each time trying to counteract what Tash is doing, Dale's actually been able to just settle into a bit of her own rhythm. She's made a nice enough start there.
Troy Rogers letting us know, yes, Andrew Lynn is now the voice of Dubbo. So, and he's also the face, and he's done a super job so far, Andrew. Super job here from Tash. He's just turned out Dale and is number one. Good close game going on in the other semi-final next door, 7-8. Currently, Clayton Parker, he looks like he's going to be pushing through to the final.
You would think that Clayton will get that game finished. I have been thinking about that since Clay made his way through into today's semi-final. There's a bowls enthusiast who's been around at the club all the way through the event, who is also a Kenworth truck enthusiast who spends his time either watching the bowls over the fence this way or from the roadside, or taking photos of Kenworth trucks going by, and he's got quite a collection of photographs by now.
This isn't Lee Stinson's number one fan, Greg Adam, by any chance, is it?
This would be Greg. He's a delightful character. However, Clay was telling me a couple of days ago that he'd been chatting with Greg, and that Greg had now been going around telling everybody, that bloke's going to win the lot. And Clay was laughing, saying he wasn't quite sure where his reputation had sort of come to that point from. However, Clay certainly looks like he's making his way at the moment right straight into that final. So Greg's prediction about Clay taking out the lot could well be true.
Well, we're seeing here Dale, she can Get down, get
I
inside.
think she will.
That might do enough.
Yes,
Yep.
I think she's done enough.
Well, 2 paddles is the indication here from Deborah Brown. So
Just gave Tasha's bowl a little nudge as it sat down, and it may have been just enough to make the difference and bring Dale's first bowl in.
you can see often on the carpet surfaces you can get a slide on the bowls. The grippier grass tends not to do that, but maybe, as you suggested, just rocked it enough.
Well, the grass out here is actually in very beautiful condition, Nick, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was enough to just make that little difference. There have been not one lump, bump, deviation, anything to be seen from the 10 days or so that I've been up here. The greens are just in very nice condition, and the greenkeepers have done a fabulous job because there has been some rain. One of the nights there were absolute gully washes of rain, and yet the green's been maintained in absolutely beautiful condition. Well, Tash got a bit unlucky there because she certainly played the most beautiful shot into there, but one of Dale's bowls obviously had other thoughts and just hung on with the jack.
Well, we'll have a look at Dale's bowl here. You can see Tash looking a little bit disconsolate at the back of the rink there. Perhaps feeling as though fortune hasn't gone her way just for the minute. Now Dale, I don't like this.
I don't like this either.
I know she's clearly a much more confident player on the backhand, but my word, there's some ways that this can go wrong because as soon as you play it too tight, it's going to go out of bounds.
There she went.
And that's exactly what's going to happen here. I don't understand that at all.
No, I don't understand that. I think sometimes people just get very nervous about getting it back into bounds, back out by the boundary. But the reality is she could afford to be narrow, on the other hand, with good weight, and she'd keep well inside being out of bounds, tuck it back in, trail the jack in behind her own a bit while she was doing it. There was plenty on offer. On the other hand, when she lined up there, I thought even the way Dale plays the bowl, which is she does tend to play the bowl stood up a bit and fairly tight line, I think she's playing with a Drake's Pride Adrenaline. She was playing with XGs until recently. She changed her bowls not very long ago. But looking at the way she set that up, I couldn't quite see that coming off.
Well, this is how the jack and the bowl got out to where it was, but it was a great piece of weight from Natasha. She would have loved the inside part of that bowl. As it was, the shot bowl spun onto the jack, and even with the little rebound, it's sat out in the open. Back live now. And Natasha, well, she's probably got a chance here. She went up and had a look. I think she might be looking to run this bowl off.
I wouldn't be surprised, Nick. She gets rid of that bowl, she'll make a very nice multiple.
Well,
I think she's a bit... Yes,
missed
just
on the high side, yes. So it's going to be another to Dale Nuttall, and it's going to be 13-7. And it just felt unlikely, but Natasha perhaps not fully on her game now. You can see Dale, well, clearly she's the chirpiest of the two. She's got a big smile, and Tash maybe a little bit less chirpy at the moment, but there's still a long way to go in this contest. And at 13-7, I think Dale can be very proud of her efforts so far.
She definitely will be, Nick. She'll be thinking at this point that she's not doing too badly. As I said, it's her first time on a live stream. She's up against a very high-quality player, and to have found herself in this position now after being stuck on zero for the first few ends,
yes.
and Tash had got a fairly good score going. At the point where I arrived greenside, the score was 9-0. And I thought, yes, well, Dale's going to have a hard job here. We thought this game will be over fairly quickly. And then once Dale actually got something in there, as you say, she's looking chirpy, got a nice smile on her face, and so she'll definitely now just be sort of knuckling under and doing the best she can. And as I said, she's the sort of player who won't be fretting about the outcome. She'll be just focusing on, try to put my bowls down, try to do my best, try not to take too much notice and get all excitable about things. And those are the sorts of things that you do look for in a player and a team as well, the sort of people who don't start fretting and gnawing away at themselves when they think that things are not going well, or they focus on the idea that I'm on the live stream, this is looking embarrassing, and certainly you can't play your best bowls when those thoughts set in.
Yes, and being on the live stream, she might have an opportunity to review this game and maybe look at some of the areas where she could have improved. Certainly that last shot where she was looking to add on, was really an opportunity to create some more pressure and potentially create some more score. But she's
and it's a lonely game, singles,
well,
because you're relying on your own judgment all the time. In a team sport, she'd have had a skipper out there just encouraging her to come the other way. Don't hang out wide, tuck it around in, keep your bowl in there for, but a chance to trail the jack out of sight a little, a chance to just sit in behind, put the pressure on more and keep the player calm and positively focused. But sometimes in those situations when you're on your own and having to make all your own choices about things, you don't necessarily think that through as well as you might.
Well, this is
Dale's
really
made
good
a
here.
beautiful opener, but look at that reply from Tash.
Tash just didn't quite get there. No, but I think it's a great comment that you make, and something that I've mentioned often is, you know, in team games you do have that support network, and you do have those opportunities to connect and make more informed decisions. I think, you know, when you're playing in singles, you can get stuck in your own head, and you can get stuck, and you see players, if they go and review their games, you say, why did I do that? That seems
indeed.
really silly.
You think it through later and you realise that those were silly things to have done, but at the time there's nobody to talk you out of it, so you carry on and do it, and then later, as you say, you think, no, shouldn't have perhaps done that. And I think sometimes also it's just a bit of a lack of confidence that people don't trust themselves to have kept it in bounds, or they don't trust themselves not to put the jack in the ditch if they're trying to just go in with a long and nice shot, and they just tighten up that little in terms of their thinking as well as the shot making.
Well, good effort
It's
there
uncharacteristic of Tash to see her not manage to come through there.
It has stayed up at the back of the rink, though,
It
so
has.
important.
I think Dale will now be looking at that, trying to get something further down.
And excitingly, in front of us here too, I'm just noticing, Billy, that we've got the Midwest Junior Academy. They've got their training session on this morning, so some familiar faces out there. I saw Flynn Thompson from Golgong, of course, and he's the brother of one of our other singles competitors, Lockie, who was playing here today.
Lockie's been playing some great bowls. I've taken notice of him over the last couple of days here.
Young,
How old would Lockie be now? Do you know?
23 or 24, something like
Yes.
that. Yeah, he's only recently graduated from juniors. I'm seeing Cooper Dart out there, who's probably only 19 now as well. So lots of good young players. This is good here from Tash. She wants this to run
I think
on.
she's got it this time.
Well, she's got to the shot bowl. Has she got it out far enough? That's going to
I
go
don't
very
think
close.
so.
No.
The marker's taking
Yeah,
a good
Deborah
look at
Brown's
it.
got the red paddle out again.
She set up Dale's bowl, but I think she had needed to have fallen down again outwards. Yes.
So
Well, there we
one
are. There's another
further.
nice round number coming up on the scoreboard. I like the look of that too.
Well,
Fill in the three that I am so partial to trying to get, and get an 8. That takes up a lot of space. Punches above its weight does an 8 on the scoreboard.
well, Craig Gardner, he was the first one who said got her on 13. This was quite some time
It
ago
was
now.
a while
and
ago. And at the time I suggested that no, that won't come into it, but it's turning out just at the moment that Dale's made a whole run of ends. How many is that in a row that she's got?
That's prescient from Craig. I'll let you know how many ends in a row that is. I'll bring the scorecard up because, of course, we're having all our markers score these games live for us. So that's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ends in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you told Dale Nuttall that she'd win 6 ends against Natasha Van Eldik, she would have been happy with that. To win 6 in a row and then start beautifully.
Absolutely gorgeous opening bowl. We've got Dale in the car with us going back to Sydney tomorrow, so we'll be able to have plenty of time to review this. Be a lot of talk about how she got into this position in the game, which will be, I'm sure, well above her expectation. And she's keeping very calm.
Well,
Here comes Tash, though, with a lovely, lovely bowl.
She's keeping calm and she's keeping on.
That's
good
what
shooting.
Tash needed at the moment, was to just stamp her mark on something again and put Dale now back under a bit of pressure. We'll see how Dale goes with the reply. Yes, Dale just having not kept her weight up with there. She won't be happy with that, but she's got a couple of more chances. I'd expect, though, to see Tash consolidate on that good start that she's made on this end. Which she has. 2 lovely openers from Tash, and she's put that in a position that's going to cause Dale, I think, to have to change her hand to make an impact on those 2 bowls sitting so close together.
It's pretty good shooting, isn't it? After
Very good shooting.
a couple of quieter ends from Natasha. Dale's in
Dale's pointed this
good
well.
track
Has
here.
she got the weight on it? Wow. Unfortunately, not quite. She certainly put that on a very good weight. It is deceptive, of course, always with the television or televised coverage to just get the depth perception from those bowls that sit out in front of the jack.
Parallax, but Natasha can confidently draw this around.
Which she's doing.
And finishing past, well, that's okay too. Now for Dale, so it is only one shot. I like something fairly similar here. Billy Mars, I think.
She still has got the opportunity to get around her own bowl there.
But even
if
contact and
yes, definitely.
turn the yellow bowl through, just doesn't need to play it massively quicker.
She won't want to be too much quicker because otherwise the jack could well be spilled back onto the bowl that Tash has put in behind. Dale's coming
good area
but
here.
I think she may be just a tad under.
Yeah, just needed the weight to get past.
Yes, she did.
And that was the crucial thing there. You can't be short with that shot. We speak about it often, and I use the great golf statistic. 100% of short putts, Billy Mars, they don't go in.
Absolutely.
So
I wouldn't say, though, over the last few days here that 100% of short bowls were never going to be
Well.
shot, because we certainly have seen the case of a few flying jacks that have ended up in some very surprising places and brought what appeared to be fairly ordinary bowls left well out the front of her head, which suddenly became lovely-looking shots. So it doesn't happen often, though. It's certainly not the percentage chance. Tash putting in a lovely bowl here as well.
I feel that'll be good enough for two. That's a
Good
lovely
enough.
draw shot. And let's have a look at that one again. She had a nice little port through there, and it is going to be 2 to Natasha Van Eldik. And she gets off that pesky 13, Billy
Yes,
Mars.
she does indeed. She broke that run of ends to Dale. So reset on the game now that Tash is back in charge of the length as well. See what she decides to do with it.
Well,
She's taken the mat up a fair bit this time. She's going to test Dale out with the mat up and see how she goes there.
yeah, I'm always a fan of this. I really like seeing players being aggressive and taking mats right up the rink, saying, let's see how good your touch is. Particularly, I mean, that length we saw from Peter Taylor yesterday when he ran the jack into the pit.
Yes.
With the first bowl, that was very aggressive stuff. But this is good here very good here from Natasha. I've got the mat back. This is my length and this is my game, is what she's saying.
That's what I said. It was interesting to see, but I would have expected Tash to have made quite a difference at this point to say, okay, we've had enough of this. We've seen what you can do on a run of ends here, but now I'm back with the mat and I'll just get straight back into it. She's jumped on very quickly.
Nothing wrong with that, though, from Dale with the first bowl.
That could be useful later. Certainly, it's given her, she's not got a bad line there, but cutting across narrow. I see Peter Taylor with his scores across the bottom going well in his game again this morning.
Yeah, well, plenty of good games out there. This is excellent once again from Tash.
2 lovely bowls.
Turn that down. Clay Parker, he's only 2 shots away from a finals berth himself. Steve Sprod, Michael Clark having a good tussle out there. I'd back Sprod to come back into that game.
You would, although Michael Clark, I think, was
Well, he
lucky to get through.
he was ready to go home, and then
I thought that as well when I looked at the scores partway through yesterday, and then late in the day, I realised that it was one of those sections, I think, wasn't it, where they each just won a match, and it came down to percentages.
It was they were all 2-game winners in that section.
Ah, yes.
And yes, it was.
I think it was the second game that Michael Clark had dropped, and when I saw that at the time, I thought, oh, well, he's ruined his chances there. But it turned out, and the same thing with Paul Leckie from Harbord, who is from the region. I'm in Metro North East. I thought that after the loss that he had, that he wasn't going to be able to do it. And then as the afternoon went on, I worked it out and said, well, what's actually needed there is for Rick Roper to beat Eric Johannes, but only by a couple of shots. Oh, Dale's played a lovely bowl there.
Beauty.
Yes, well done to her this time.
Yeah, and this is the thing with singles in these sectional games. We never know what's going to happen, and saw there was a very specific score which Rick had to win by. So
Exactly.
so it
Yes,
So
we
yesterday
had it as avid watchers from Metro Northeast. We had it all worked out of what the range of scores was that Rick could win by and bring Paul Leckie into the contest today rather than Eric, because Rick, going into that last game, was on a negative margin out of the 2 games he'd played, and so if he'd actually scored bigger in that last game, he'd have got himself pushed up better, but he actually fell right in that bandwidth of the scores that we had thought would put Paul Leckie through, and it did. So I think Paul probably also had thought that he was not going to be here playing today.
Yeah, I was with him at the Macquarie Club, and I knew what the margins were, but once the players had commenced, it's up to them to make those make those mathematical equations.
And you do find some players who just get completely caught up in the game and are not aware of that big picture. Sometimes they think that their game is done and they've pedalled back a bit. And then when you say later, that was still doable because it didn't just rely on your game, it relied on what was happening somewhere else. In their case, it did rely on that one game. But there are some others where it's not just their own equation. And sometimes people, when I say that to them later, they're saying, oh, we didn't know that. We didn't think about that. So sometimes it is surprising that players haven't sort of got that instinct to have worked out what exactly is at stake here.
Well, what's at stake here? It's 2 shots to Dale Nuttall. She's got to 10. So that'll be a really proud achievement for her going into this game. We get to 10. And at 15 shots to 10, all of a sudden, is Natasha van Eldik feeling some frustration? Is she feeling some pressure? Dale has played admirably. Natasha she can feel that she hasn't had the same amount of fortune as perhaps she would have liked. And we're seeing a dinky little length here from Dale. So Tasha's tried it. And Dale said, no, I don't mind that. Let's have a go myself.
It's interesting. Dale's taken the same sort of length, but with the mat back further. I always think, sometimes taking the mat right up and then the jack right up, sometimes it's just an invitation to a player of Tasha's quality to just run that jack straight through into the ditch pretty easily. So you've got the mat back further and the jack back further there. Sometimes when people make a run at it, it might kill, and therefore you're at no disadvantage in terms of the scoring. Or it may actually not go as far as the ditch, and therefore the game's still alive. You've got another chance. So Dale's obviously gone back with it and kept everything well in play further down the green. But I also find that interesting that Dale decided that once she got the hang of that length, that she could perhaps stick with that.
She's played it well. You're getting love letters passed to you, Billy Mars. So
it says that somebody back at Belrose, Nick, is saying that she thinks that my microphone is very soft and maybe have it closer to my mouth. Normally the comment is that people can hear me all over the building. So I would have thought that, in fact, we'd have been right there, Nick. However, the message has been passed that apparently I'm not being heard out there in the big live streaming population.
That's a different message to the one that I got from Andrew Lynn, who was most unkind. He suggested he was going to have to buy us new headsets after this because you'll wear them out, Billy Mars.
Well, there you go.
No, it's fantastic to have your company, Billy. It's lovely to have your opinion and to know Dale's game and to be have your
Well, I've played against Tash a few times as well, Nick, and while you're making the comment about Tash at the moment being under a bit more pressure on the scoreboard, the thing with Tash is that just when you might think that you're in fact doing all right against her, she'll step up that notch and mow you down over the last few ends of things. So she's certainly made a very nice start on this end, that's suggesting that no, I'm perfectly under control here. And also sometimes you can look at the biting of the fingernails from Tash, and you might also think that, well, now we've got her nervous, but that's just a habit of Tash's, so you don't take any notice of that. Once you've been around her a bit, you don't actually let that sway what you're thinking in the game. But certainly Tash has put in 3 lovely bowls there. I think Dale's going to have to actually...
Oh, it's attack only here.
Exactly.
Now, depending on what her preferred pace is, but I think really needs to look to get into this. If she can get a split through the front, there's an opportunity to get onto the jack. I like the left-handed backhand. Split through the front, can clear out one of the yellow bowls to either side, but if she can spin on and get the jack moving, can potentially make a number for herself. And then Natasha will have a little bit of pressure with the final bowl of the end. So we'll see exactly what weight.
I think she's lining up to come that way.
Yeah,
Yes, she is.
that's
She's
the right
played a
sort
bit
of
of
weight.
weight at it.
Now we'll see what happens here. A little bit of contact. Does get the jack moving. It's out in the open, but hasn't gone far enough.
It hasn't got far enough. It got one of them out, but I think on a measure that would still perhaps be Tash for second shot out the front at the moment.
Well, we'll see what happens here. And for Natasha, one shot is all that's being indicated by Deborah Brown. Michelle Harkin saying that she can hear you very well, Billy. So you don't need to worry too much. Jason Pinnock had a similar comment as well. So,
nice to have Michelle and Jason in on the coverage today. Some of Bowles' great volunteers from around the regions.
Some of the great doers.
They are indeed. Both Michelle and Jason put a lot of time and effort into bowls. Not just playing the game well themselves, but certainly putting in the effort for the enjoyment of a lot of other people. So Tash, you would think, is drawn second with that last.
I'm less confident.
You think?
Billy Mars, we're going to have a
look. Will they
look.
get the tape?
The tape is going to emerge, I suspect. I'm more inclined to believe it on that angle. And Deborah Brown indicates two shots, and you're exactly right. And it's now 17-10.
Yes, well.
And let's see what Natasha does. There was a suggestion in the comments that T to T might be her next go, but
she's not going for that.
Kept the powder dry there.
She hasn't taken the mat up further where she had it before, but she hasn't gone back to the tee either. So she's coming from a more midpoint with the mat.
Now,
and left it well short of the tee, about 2 metres from the tee.
Yeah, so a very specific sort of tactic going on out there, and great to see. So we've got the great Victor Brook, who's leading some of the charges, and I'm counting out there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 juniors who are out there rolling up here on a beautiful morning at Club Dubbo. I might see if I can swing a camera around and we'll get a look at the juniors in action here. But it's Natasha Van Eldik, 17. Leading Dale Nuttall, 10. Nick Hind is my name. Alongside me is Billy Mars. We're here at Club Dubbo. It's the Bowls New South Wales TAB State Championships. And it's fantastic to have your company. Wherever you're watching around Australia or around the world, do let us know as we see some games racing towards a conclusion. Rowan Wilson has hit the front against Joel Nouse. He trailed early. Peter Taylor looks to be in command against Nick Cahill, but you don't want to write Nick off, do you, ever?
Well, at 18-11 you wouldn't.
Another lovely bowl there from Tash. Natalie Lewis trails Botto 9 shots to 14, but again, I'm not writing Natalie Lewis off. Clayton Parker is our first confirmed finalist in the senior men's. He's defeated Paul Leckie 25-9. Michael Clark leads Steve Sprod 15 shots to 7. Colleen Starr is almost there against Deirdre Stubbs. And Barbara Shotland and Coral Nathan, well, they might be there a while. They've played 13 ends. And it's very close. Craig Scott looks to be in command, as does, well, Glenn Evans. Perhaps not quite as in command as he was earlier. So that's all the matches. You can follow that along on your device. So download the BowlsLink app or head to the BowlsLink results portal. That's results.bowlslink.com.au in your browser. And you can follow along with all of our matches live.
Dale's just missed the line and the weight with her opening 2 bowls here, so it's very important that she gets this one in closer, but it just looks as though she's pushed this out wide. She's giving Tash a good look at making a multiple here.
I'm just getting comments coming through from Andrew Lynn and Dean Hodges that they have been playing bingo and they reckon they've got it this morning. The Bowls New South Wales bingo card, they've put a few things on there that I say and do and that Andrew says and does, including around Australia and around the world, and getting the telestrator out. And Andrew reckons he's got a bingo this morning, so well done to you, Andrew Lynn. What's your prize? You can let us know in the comments. You might have to have a shot. But yes, Andrew and Dean have been given the afternoon off today, so I'm sure they'll be out and about enjoying the sights and sounds of Dubbo. This could be 3 or 4 now, and for Dale, all her hard work could be undone very, very quickly.
She just unfortunately hasn't nailed anything on this end and made it really hard for herself now to cut it back.
Well, she's had 2 loose ends and she's been punished both times.
She has.
1 bowl to correct here. I think I'd really prefer to see her playing the forehand. Even if she can get in underneath the second shot of Natasha. You're not looking to do anything too silly here. Just draw to cut down. Perhaps out a little bit too high. There's a really favourable bounce here.
She's getting a favourable bounce, Nick. Yes, well, that's helped her a lot.
Very fortunate there, Natasha.
She might have cut that back to 1.
The body language from Tash says...
I know, there's a ho-hum. Really look to Natasha about that, and you can understand why, because when you saw it pointed down, you might have thought that the line looked good, but the weight looked well over, and then when she caught that rub, it brought her in beautifully. Yes, came back to just 1 shot.
Well, Natasha, she's still in control, but perhaps not. Well, she's not quite there. The springboard is still a few shots away, and for Dale, as you say, she's given a very good account of herself so far. But against the player, the quality of Natasha van Eldik, you need to be at your best for the entire duration if you're going to be any chance of a victory. Tash just stepping off. There is some movement behind the ring. Lee Stinson's out there acting as security guard and saying, hey, can you please just stand by while players are... Yep, you can see Tash waving them through.
You see Tash also there immediately put down the bowl that she had in her hand and select another one. You see a lot of the players that will do that. Instead of just standing, holding the bowl, waiting, they'll get rid of that and then just start their entire routine again. Pick up the bowl, start afresh. And you could say, well, you could put down the same bowl and pick it up all over again. But no, pick up a whole new one and just start again. Regroup.
Yeah, a little reset. And I think psychologically that can help. So, yes, Lee Stinson's on duty at the back of the ring. We've got the juniors on behind us. You can see them all rolling up down there. That is Flynn Thompson in the red jumper, letting that one go. So, great to have the juniors here. Just the Midwest Academy. And for them, they're having a very pleasant time out here on what is a gorgeous day here in Dubbo. This is probably the day of the championships so far, I'd suggest.
It was a colder start to the day, but certainly in terms of the lovely clear sky, it is, I think, the best day that we've seen. Some of the others have started promising, and you've been out at the green thinking, this is nice, some sunshine, but it's been quite quick for those clouds to build up and just be dense enough to take the heat away from the day. Certainly out here in the lovely clear country air makes that huge difference when the sun is strong on you. So even though it might be theoretically cold, it feels beautiful the minute that sun gets onto you. We were sitting out greenside a couple of days ago, and the first thing I did was take down the shade cloth that the greenkeepers have very nicely put up all around the greens for the event, which we then put back where we got it from at the end of the day. But having that bit of sunshine come through certainly makes a difference.
Well, we can see there's some fans basking out there, and Natasha van Eldik, she's played a lovely bowl there. Just flops off the front of Dale. It was a good effort from Dale to draw one close, but the indication is that they've still got plenty of range there from marker Deb Brown.
There's definitely plenty of space there for Dale to get in. Just stick on the same hand there.
This looks to be the right sort of line. She can get down quick enough. You did suggest, though, Billy Mars, that she's using a pretty tight set, so perhaps needs something a bit wider to be getting back from out there. I thought that looked good, but perhaps that's more indicative of players using the wider bowls. Natasha here, she can get a good outcome, get through her own, get down to the shot. Or just draw it stone cold like
lovely
that.
Bowl.
Lovely stuff.
And she's tucked it around nicely so that it's not leaving that inviting little shoulder for anybody to get onto.
Yeah, it makes it really hard for Dale now. So as we'll just have a look at that one on the replay. You can see perhaps the breeze is starting to get up a little bit, and maybe that hand playing a fraction tighter.
I think it looks like the breeze has just swung on its direction slightly. The flags are still about the same. Don't look like they're billowing any harder than they were, but the angle of that wind seems to have just changed a bit.
So back live now. Dale's set up on the backhand, so she's looking to tip her maroon bowl up or just sneak around it onto the shot bowl. I'm okay with this. There's a few ways to win if she plays with good weight. I'll tell you what, Billy, this isn't too foul here. Can get through the front,
close.
Up and over on the red. Well, you have to go up and over 2 or 3 times.
She did.
Cuts it down to 1.
Cut it down to 1.
That's all Natasha's going to claim. I think that's all Dale's going to concede. That's all Deborah Brown is going to put in the air, yes. So 19 shots, Natasha Van Eldik, 10 shots, Dale Nuttall. Tash is potentially just 2 ends away from victory here. But Dale Nuttall, well, she might still have something to say about this, Billy. And we saw she did go on a run. She claimed 6 ends in succession earlier, Dale. So
yes, Tash, of course, though, will know that she only has to be patient and keep picking up that 1 shot per end. And she's not the sort of player who will get agitated, I don't think, about trying and just get it finished big time, unless there's a really good opportunity on offer. So she did find in one of the games on the lead through to this that she got a bit aggressive about how fast she wanted to finish the game off, and it didn't come off well for her, and then she had to work harder over the last few ends, although I'm a bit surprised to see Tash that far through with her opener, but she of course therefore has a nice bowl set up if the jack needs to go back at all.
Well, I'll back that she'll improve with the second one as Dale has improved here. This is going to be a good lead bowl from Dale Nuttall, yes. Finishing.
So Dale's at least got something in reasonably close while she's got the opportunity before Tash gets all over it. So Dale's tightened up on her previous couple of ends.
We can see here, yes, well, that's an overcorrection from Natasha, is it?
I think it's running a bit further than we
got
think.
On. I think she'll still be disappointed that she didn't get to the jack there, and it is 1 shot indicated to yellow. I think Deb Brown forgot which pocket, which set of paddles was, but yeah, 1 shot to Natasha there, so has done enough. Good effort there from Dale. We've got our next game. Well, if this does conclude quickly, we will be moving cameras. We'll try to catch the end of the Natalie Lewis-Sarah Boddington game, but that one might be finished before we are if Dale has something to say about it. And then this afternoon will be the men's singles final. Well, what's Tash done there? Has she done enough to make 2? And has Dale got any ideas about maybe going and running into those? She's playing forehand, can turn her own bowl through. There's probably a little hole there.
There is a little hole if she's just got a little more weight.
Didn't
I think
need
she's
it.
done that very well.
Super shot. And makes 1 now for Tash. Decision time. Which is second and third. I wonder if she's going to look to... I mean, I hate to use the word rake for a player of Natasha's ability, but to push through the front and maybe get one of her yellow bowls up onto the shot.
It's certainly a shot that's on offer. And if the jack spills, Tash has got the best back. So she's got plenty of options to work with.
So we'll see what happens here. Get those scores rolling through again, because we know in singles things can happen very quickly, as it's a race to 25. It's not end related. They can be out there for as long as they need to get to the 25 required shots. So see what's going on there at the bottom of your picture. Natasha is playing a reaching sort of weight, looking to turn through one of her bowls at the front or split and spin on, and she's done that and move the jack. Well, the luck hasn't been in her favour.
That's a couple of times in this game that Tash has played a lovely bowl like that, and Dale's just had a bowl that somehow managed to collect the jack with it quite nicely.
Well, I could see the intent from Natasha, but there was always a chance that this could go wrong, and getting that split spin on down the line and just went the wrong way.
Well, with the weight that Tash has played, she's no worse off than she was before, because if had her bowl run through further, Dale would now be holding 2. But Tash's bowl's hung around for second shot there, and it's in a position where Dale should be able to avoid it coming in and trying to add.
Well, there's an opportunity here, I think, for Dale. Sit that bowl through a couple of turns.
It's all it would take, and she could make 3
Make
out
3,
of this.
yeah. Get herself to the magic 13 number that we have discussed already.
Perhaps she won't want that, given that the prediction about getting stuck on 13 actually proved a bit correct for Tash.
Well, this looks to be out in a high line. Conservative line, conservative weight. Pretty well played in the end.
But the weight, in fact, was very nice. If she just had kept the line tightened in a bit, that could have been very effective.
And tape measure being reached for. One bowl tipped out by Natasha van Eldik. She's quickly onto this. She doesn't muck around too much, Tash, particularly when it comes to these things. And getting a little feather there on her own yellow bowl. We'll compare that to the front maroon bowl of Dale Nuttall. And umpire being called for. So
it's nice to see Tash, though, set an example there by getting into measure quickly, because the amount of time that's wasted by the players who get out with the fingers, look from this angle, look from that angle, have a chat about it, the other one gets in, they look, you think, you could have got down, measured, sorted it out, and the game would be underway again by now. And then after all of that, when they then decide it's time to measure, because they can't decide, everybody's throwing up their hands thinking, why didn't you just measure in the first place, get it done and get on with it? So I can understand if you've got players involved who are physically not very able to get down on their knees or do the measure, but where you're able to measure and it looks very close like that, I think there's plenty of people in the game who think that it would have been faster to just measure.
Well, Pam Hawkins has got the laser out. This will give us a very good outcome. Billy Master, you're an umpire as one of the many hats that you wear. Tell us about the laser measure and tell us about how accurate they are when they're used by a skillful operator.
I would have no hesitation in the hands of a skillful operator like Pam, who's the only female ITO in New South Wales at this point still, I believe, much as we've tried to get other females interested in becoming an ITO. We've got ITOs around the other states, but I think Pam is still it in New South Wales, and it's very nice to have her on deck here at the moment. But the thing with the laser measures is there are a lot of laser measures on the market. There are a lot of laser measures that were initially approved for use, some of which are not able to measure to such fine accuracy to actually be terribly effective. So I think there are laser measures and laser measures, and it does actually cost a fair bit to get the sort of accurate type of measure like Pam would be using there. And then it takes an appreciation of actually practicing with it. And I think we recently got at Belrose the type of laser that Pam's using, and it's a bit disconcerting at first because the laser light actually fires from an off-centered angle. And you first think, well, that's not right because it's not really going from the object. But the point is it's going, Dale out for second shot there.
2, yes. So.
But yes, it's a matter of you have to get a good quality piece of equipment, and then you have to have somebody practice and get confident with using it.
Yeah, so 2 it is there. We've got Dale just making a little fight back here. She's done really well. We'll see what she can do here now that she's got the jack again. We saw before Matt back and short jack was her favoured mode of operation, and that's what she's going to go for again. We'll go around the grounds. I've had a request. So Joel Dowsett has asked for that. And the Jindy kid, Nick Hind here, yes, I will provide for you, mate. That was the nickname I was given at Interregion this year by Scott Matheson. He's pretty quick with that sort of thing. And he had a few of them. Stuart McGee got a really good one, but it's not a name that can be repeated on air, I'm afraid. So you'll have to ask him. So
we've just got that one game finished so far, haven't we?
Yeah, still only one game completed. But a few players within striking distance. Good bowl there from Natasha van Eldik to commence the end. She's not far away. Just get my sign handy. I had someone try to come and have a conversation with me, and we've got a very polite sign that's probably a little bit more polite than the gestures that I use there to get rid of a spectator. Natasha now looking to add on and looking to get herself into that checkout zone. Got a good 2. That's a really good 2, isn't it, Billy?
It's certainly a very good 2. When you're already on 19 and you put in 2 bowls like that with your 2 openers, you're certainly putting the pressure on somebody to spoil your fun, because unless you've got a player who's either prepared to play a bit of weight at those and disturb it, which Dale hasn't really attempted to do there. I'm a bit surprised actually that Dale didn't come the other hand at it, because looking at it the way those bowls are lying, I would have thought she could have still drawn the jack off, and she's got a bowl waiting behind.
Yeah, it was a bit of a nothing shot, and I think another one of those ones where when you go through the review in the car on the way home tomorrow, or whenever it happens to be.
Yes, and now Tasha's put the bowl in behind, which is trying to stop that jack now coming back through on that path, so she's just made up the ante. No. As I said earlier, Tash might at times look like she's a bit under pressure on a scoreboard, but when it really matters down the end of the game, she's got amazing presence on the green, and she'll just do what she's done here. Find her range and play absolutely beautiful bowls, and she's now sitting in a position where you would think it was very easy for Tash to draw that 4th shot in. She'll be sitting on 23, well on her way to getting this game finished quickly.
Yeah, so if this is over shortly, we may swing the cameras across. Next door currently it's Sarah Boddington 18 leading Natalie Lewis 11. So
well, that game could still go quite a long way. Nat's got a great ability as well to just keep the pressure on and just keep getting a bowl in or keep it down so that she'll have a lot of ends to play.
Well, Lee Stinson is out there keeping his eye on this. Natasha van Eldik, she's going to draw for 4 here. Get the right flick off that. That'll do. 4 shots.
As I would have expected, 4 shots.
And she goes to a game-winning lead, one feels. It's going to be very hard to prevent Natasha van Eldik from scoring 2 further shots when trying to score 13 for yourself, if you don't mind. And she's taking the mat right up the line. Now, might we see... Well, not quite.
She came back a little from where she was thinking of at first. I think she realised it wasn't necessarily necessary to have gone as far up as she might have. She can still get this job done very nicely, and she's made a nice roll of the jack.
Well, I was wondering whether we might see what we saw from Peter Taylor yesterday. I might have that replay.
I was wondering
ready
that
to
too,
go.
Nick.
Here is Natasha van Eldik. Is she going to follow up what we saw from Peter Taylor yesterday? Is she going to look to run this jack into the pit with the first? No, she's not. You have to build up to these things, though, just in case. You never know. She's going to go and look to get a toucher on it, though. This is pretty close. Good start. And Natasha van Eldik 2 shots away from completion. I think Lee Stinson's just noticed that, and he's going to come and check in with me to see what the plan is. But I think given that there's potentially plenty of ends left next door, as you've suggested, Billy, that we might be moving some cameras around. I did factor that possibility in when setting up this morning, so there's a little bit more cable. Peter Taylor has shaken hands with Nick Cahill, and he will progress to the men's singles final. We will see that this afternoon. 1 o'clock is the likely start time. And get your shot glasses ready, because I'm going to tell you that you have to like, follow and subscribe. Have your notifications turned on all our social media channels so you know when we go live, as we are chasing 1 billion subscribers on the Bowls New South Wales YouTube. It's currently several hundred million short. And it's Dale Nuttall now looking to keep this match going.
I think she's just left it shy. She certainly had a nice line for being able to come up on that hand, but after the first one being well through, taken too much off there. Tash is holding one of the two that she needs to close out the match. You would think that the bowl coming in now will make number 2 shot.
Well, asking for it to turn, probably needing it to run a little bit as well, so I don't think so.
That's the effect of that wind having swung around a bit there, Nick, for the direction that they're playing. The wind is just now picked up. You can see on the flags outside that it's got stronger, and it's pushing across to keep the bowls out on that hand.
So Rowan Wilson, he's out to a commanding lead. Peter Taylor, as we know, is through. Rowan Wilson looks the likely opponent.
Rowan's had a very good campaign with taking out the pairs. The Marimbula fans would be very pleased to see him get through into the final in the singles as well.
Dale's just bumped her own up. It's a better second shot, and probably 2 seconds now. Yes, Rowan Wilson, he's still got the fours to come with Greg Mallard, Scott Pettit, Michael Wilkes, and Rowan Wilson. So a very competitive side for Marimbula there in the fours. That commences very shortly. Andrew's saying he's got another bingo. So I trust that they're having another cup of tea. They've heard that. And Natasha now drawing to hold game. Needs to clear the front. Well, she's got to slide off it. That's the first bit of luck you feel for Natasha, but that is going to be a game-winning second shot, I favour.
It does look as though it's second, and you're right, Tash has had a bit of not enough luck off a few of those bowls, and that's the first time that we've been watching here that she's just got the right bit of slide herself. For a moment, I thought she wasn't going to clear that front one.
Well,
and then she
didn't, but of course,
she didn't, but
just got enough.
She still had the momentum to get past it instead of getting caught up behind it.
And now for Dale, I think, well, she does have a bowl at the back of the rink, but I think she's got to play positively at this. You know, you can draw to a foot and still be 2 down and therefore game down.
Well, I think it looks as though she's coming the other hand, Nick, so it'll be interesting to see whether she finds the same as Tash, that those bowls are now really holding out on that hand.
She's going to back herself to draw this stone cold. Dale Nuttall here. She's going to need a little bit of help. That's going to slide on the high side, and I feel as though, unless I've got things different, the players are going to be shaking hands. It is definitely one. And it's handshakes all round. So Natasha Van Eldik, she will go through to this afternoon's women's singles final. She claims victory over Dale Nuttall from Belrose, 25-12. Billy Mars, that was a good effort from your young charge there, Dale.
Well, it was. I think Dale herself will actually be pleased with that. And as you say, there'll be things that she'll look back later and think, perhaps I could have done that slightly differently. But she certainly did keep her calm on the green and just go about putting those bowls down. So good to see. And the 25-12 result, I think that she'll feel that, well, it could have been a lot worse than that. It was certainly shaping up from the beginning of the game to be there till Dale just found some rhythm.
No, it's been a great effort. So Lee Stinson's going to move some cameras around for us. We're going to go across to the other game. We'll just show you some of the highlights from this match. And as Lee's moving cameras, so we'll play through just some of the highlights. So this was earlier on. We saw some great bowls being played from both Natasha and Dale. Lee Stinson's moving the cameras around. I'll get that ready as soon as we can. Oh, he's done the wrong thing. He's unplugged it for me. That's very difficult. But, we saw some champion bowls. We saw some little bit of a disappointment, perhaps, from Natasha at times. As you say, the luck didn't necessarily go her way.
No, but she remained very patient through it, which is always nice to see in a game where people don't get rattled by those things. I was impressed yesterday also. There was bit of an unfortunate incident with the scorecard and the electronic scoring going on yesterday on Tash's rink, and where other players might have looked rattled by it, Tash appeared to be fully understanding of the situation and allowed the officials time to work out what was the story. They, although they have been doing the app scoring on the green, the scoreboard attendants have been keeping paper cards as well. So fortunately there was a backup on the scoring, but it was impressive to see that Tash, instead of being rattled because it was an end that Tash had played and scored on that was missing off the electronic board at the time, and Tash took it very calmly and certainly didn't throw her on the game. And it's always good to see when players are actually able to keep their own focus and not be put off by that. So although the pieces of luck at times didn't go with Tash, she certainly just kept about the job and didn't let it throw her.
No, it's been good to see. And as we go to, as Lee's just moving the cameras around, we've got more replays coming through. We are going to go to the other semi-final that is in play here, and it's going to be Natalie Lewis from Marylands. She's up against Sarah Boddington from Foster. And, well, both massively experienced campaigners. And currently Natalie Lewis is trailing 12 shots to 18. And we'll go live over there in just a moment. I think we're going to have the camera plugged in and working for us, I hope, before too long. While he's moving things around, we're seeing some more of the great shots that were played throughout this match. And this is Natalie Lewis and Sarah Boddington. We can see the jacks just tucked in out of camera shot there.
It appears from that angle as though it's tucked in onto one of Sarah's bowls.
Yes, the pale blue.
Nat's got a close second by the look of that.
Okay, and so we've got another camera back online, although Lee needs to be reminded about the position of the camera because it's very wonky at the moment. So, Billy, I might send you to go and be a runner. If you can remind
I'll
Lee
be happy to do that, Nick.
If you can remind Lee that he needs to have the cameras vertical so they've got the bubble in the right position.
All right.
He'll know what we're talking about.
It'll be my pleasure to do so.
Thank you so much. It's been great to have your company, and do come back and join us once we've got everything underway here as we get to the exciting conclusion.
I'll just go and do a runner out to Lee.
Thanks, mate. So I'm going to send Billy to be our runner. And while we're doing that, I will do my very best to bring you the pictures here from our other women's semi-final. We know it is Natalie Lewis and Sarah Boddington. And it was one further shot to Sarah, so she currently currently leads Natalie Lewis. 19 shots to 12. Nat Lewis there drawing second shot. Kim Evans saying it was a great game. Yes, well, for Natasha Van Eldik, an opportunity to put her name on the New South Wales Women's State Singles Trophy. I'll roll through all the other scores here. Great bowl from Sarah Boddington. Once again, I'll roll through all the other scores here so you can stay up to date with what's going on. So Rowan Wilson, you can see in the background there, he's using the yellow bowls. He's currently got 1 or 2. Natalie Lewis, well, she's turned up the bowl there of Sarah Boddington. Clay Parker through to the finals, where he will meet, looks to be Michael Clark in command, up against Bargo's Steve Sprod. Colleen Starr, she's through to the women's senior singles final. She's defeated Deirdre Stubbs, while Barbara Shotland and Coral Nathan, they're going toe-to-toe there, duking it out. Craig Scott is through to the reserve singles final, where he will meet either Glenn Evans from Campbelltown or Doug Ellery from Canton Beach. When we see Natalie, she's just turned one up into the head. And Lee Stinson, well, he's just moving the cameras around for us. We will get you the end pictures as soon as we can, but currently we have a camera at the end there, but Lee's left it looking a bit like an unmade bed. Look at that. We're on a bit of a slant, so I don't know what's better there. Just adjust your sets, viewers. And you can see there it is, currently one shot to Sarah Boddington. She's drawing. She'll come down the hill to try to get to the jack. This is the velodrome hand, clearly. And she's done that nicely. That'll be 2 shots. And for Nellie Lewis, she might have to play a bit of weight, perhaps, to punch through her own. Lee Stinson's still out there moving our cameras, our devices around, so we can bring you the best pictures here at the TAB State Championships. We thank our great sponsors, the TAB, Dubbo Regional Council. It is going to be attacking weight. You can see the hill there is absolutely holding Natalie Lewis out. Oh, it's not Crown Green Bowls, folks, so we will get that camera adjusted momentarily. I am looking around to see where Leroy is, but it's going to be 2 shots to Sarah Boddington. And 21-12 she leads. It's a commanding lead in this format. And for a player the calibre of Sarah Boddington, you don't need to be giving her a 9-shot start at any stage, let alone what's going on now. Lee Stinson's standing around behind the camera, and he's been given instructions. And he's done a reasonable job at the other end, so we'll see how he goes here. This one's not too foul, so he's not centred it beautifully, but I'll give him a pass mark on that. Oh, and he's improved the other end. Well done to Lee Stinson, and we thank him, and we thank all of our volunteers across the clubs as well who've supported this event. The entire Bowls New South Wales team, Lee Stinson, Andrew Lynn, Dean Hodges, Kira O'Shea, Tricia Brewer here taking photos, and myself, Nick Hind, with you. Bring you the conclusion of the other women's semi-final. This is Natalie Lewis now on the mat to chase down a big lead. Sarah Boddington within 4 shots of the conclusion. See how Bordeaux goes here. So, probably 2 currently. Lee Stinson's walking in. I'm going to give him more explicit instructions for the support of the cameras. Lee Stinson's asking if it's close. Not really, mate. There's a thing called the bubble head on the camera. A little screw underneath, and there's a bubble at the front. That'll give us whether the cameras are on the right plane or not. So he's gone back to have another go. But he might not need to. This is going to be 3 shots here to Sarah. We're still doing this a bit, Leroy, so that bubble head's what you need to be adjusting. But I said you might not need to. If Sarah can draw a 4th one here, it could be game over. Both ends need to be improved upon. Well, Nat Lewis, she's got in. That could be at the least 2nd shot, I feel. And the indication was maybe 1. Boddington. Might have been some temptation to go and try to plant that one through, but with such a commanding lead, she's not in any pressure for time. Just looking to draw another. Had to change hands. Doesn't want to tip that one over and in. And for Natalie Lewis, she can jump back on here. Billy Masters jumped back in as well. Thank you. So it's.
How did we go with getting the cameras leveled up? Nick?
Look,
Did we do all right?
there's some room for improvement from from both of you yet, but that's okay. We'll go out and do.
It's not our main job.
A 3-week intensive course on camera positioning. You can see we're not quite on the level here, but
We're not quite on the level, are we? No.
this is fighting hard against the velodrome. That might well be number 1. It might be 2 as well. So we'll see what the indication is from the players and the marker. Fortunately, as I say, 2 being claimed by Natalie Lewis, 2 being conceded by Sarah Boddington. So 14 shots, Natalie Lewis, 21 Sarah Boddington.
It is still doable. I've seen Natalie dig in and keep getting enough bowls in to just keep that alive, even when it looks as though somebody could take charge of the game and get over the line quite quickly.
This is the camera I wanted Lee to go and get to. We're on a bit of
we didn't try that one, Nick. Sorry, I only looked at the end cameras.
No, sorry. I was going to say this is the camera. When I go to this picture here, it feels like we're on the velodrome a little bit, but as we say, we've moved between games, between ends.
It actually did look quite level. I said to Lee, "Did you have the bubble in the right spot?" And he said, "What bubble?" So I wasn't much help with that.
There is a bubble, yes.
Well, some other time, Nick, you can show me the bubble, and then another time I'll be knowing what to do. Although the bubble might have been up quite high, and I wasn't tall enough to actually see the bubble. Maybe that's possible.
Might be a risk with you, Billy Mars.
Could be. I could have had a bit of challenge with
your
that.
Diminutive stature. It's the diminutive Sarah Boddington up against the equally small Natalie Lewis. There's not a lot of size on this rink. They're both small in stature but large in ability. And Sarah gets a handy little scrape off the front there.
She had a nice run through. Yes, you. If I had trouble actually seeing where the bubble would be, I'm quite tall compared to Nat and Bodo, so it's good. It's good to see smaller people in the game as well. We like this.
We know the game is available to all ages, all abilities, all sizes, all we welcome all comers. It's a big church here.
It's the fabulous thing about bowls because people think that you either should be bigger, stronger, something, and or younger. And you get the case where there have been, through the open events, there have been quite a lot of players who would qualify as seniors to play in the senior versions of events who are not. They're playing with younger people in combinations in the teams. And we've always said in these sorts of events, you never trust the little old ladies, Nick, because they're the ones that come back to bite people big time. Some people have made the mistake. I've witnessed people who have got on the green and looked at their opponents and thought, well, they looked a bit old, or they looked a bit small, they looked a bit something, and thought we'll have an easy enough job here. And had that smile wiped off their faces very quickly by people who have been in the sport a long time, got plenty of experience, got a lot of confidence in their own ability, and just go about their job in an unspectacular but ruthless way. So it is the nice thing with the sport that it comes down to people's own attitude to the game, and their consistency with being able to put those bowls down rather than some of the flashy approaches that people might go for and think are spectacular, but don't always actually get past them. As I say, the little old ladies of the game. Certainly the other day I had quite a laugh to myself because the only club that was still playing in the wet and very miserable conditions during the playing of the pairs were the senior women who were playing over at Macquarie Club, who managed to get the job done over there in not pleasant conditions.
That was some sort of day, and it's been, well, it's harder when we have a Bowls New South Wales event. We're using multiple clubs across multiple weeks to find time in the calendar where it doesn't rain, but we've only lost one session, but we've got that all back now, and we are now back on track. So we're seeing here Sarah Boddington. Well, she's on track here, but for Natalie Lewis, there's maybe an opportunity, and it's probably a high-risk shot, but if she gets down and can sit that back bowl, she may be able to make 4. I didn't quite get an indication on which was second, third, fourth. And she's played it conservatively to draw, and that will be number 1.
Draw, which she has.
Now for Botto, a chance to go out here. Jack in the pit, and it's game over. So I'll give you the other angle. You can see at the back of the rink, all the blue bowls belong to Sarah Boddington.
The jack doesn't actually even need to go in the pick. She just needs to get it up level at least with
just
the
get
first
it moving,
of those
yeah.
bowls maybe that are behind, and she could bring all of those into play.
I think, given this is pretty close to maximum length, you're nothing for short here. You might as well play with that intent to run the jack in.
And she does need to come under that bowl of Natalie's that's sitting at about 230 on the screen as we're looking at it at the moment. So she will be keeping the weight through a little.
So Sarah Boddington, is she going to take this opportunity? Can she take the opportunity to go out with one bowl here? She's taking her time, having a good assessment. Natalie Lewis, she's
just
looking,
loosening up as well there, as you can see, Nick. A bit of a wiggle of the neck, a bit of a let down of the shoulders, a bit of a think about it. Just take your time, visualising the shot.
Well, here we are, Sarah Boddington now. I trust that she's going to be playing for the win here. It is weight. Looking to get down to the jack. She's not going to do that unless she gets some very favourable outcome. Well, she's clipped a couple of Natalie Lewis's bowls to the back of the rink. It's not going to be enough, and I think only one to Nat. And that's all that's been claimed and conceded. So,
well, it was worth her going for it. I
absolutely.
thought she may not have gone with quite as much weight as that. And for a moment when that bowl was hanging wide, it looked as though she actually could upset things in a way that wasn't going to be in her favour, but was no harm done with the bowls that rattled.
So, for Natalie Lewis, she lives to fight another day.
Well, she does, and she's got the margin narrowed to 6. We've seen plenty of people get stuck on those early 20s on the scoreboard, or get stuck even right up to 24 and have a lot of trouble closing out the game. So it wouldn't be at all unusual to see somebody come up from the point that Natalie's on at the moment, but just see how she goes with the having rolled the jack herself on this. She looks to have made a very nice start. Just needed a fraction more run.
Yeah, didn't need too much more. Now Sarah on what is pretty close to maximum length. As she's coming down the hill here. I've asked Lee, once again, I'm giving more explicit instructions. And that has gone down the hill and into the...
It has gone downhill.
Into the ditch.
Quite with the slope, the way we've got the camera set up, but you could blame us. It's definitely downhill to that side.
I'm blaming Lee Stinson here for that, but instructions have been sent.
I think, nevertheless, Nick, that those watching the game will just appreciate the fact that you've been able to move the cameras around and catch the end of this game, because you get 2 for the price of 1 at this rate when you've tuned in to watch one of the women's semi-finals, and then find that you're going to get a good portion and right down the closing stages of the other game as well. I think that we can probably all cope on a Sunday morning with just having our heads on a slight tilt to try to make up for the screen.
So Sarah needing to dial the weight back. The first one
I think she's going to be a bit downhill on that side again, Nick.
disappeared. It's going to stay up at the back of the rink. May come in handy, but no opportunity to go out this end, already losing 1 bowl. And
Nat just covering the back.
yes, that stayed up at the back of the rink there too, so good positional bowl. Currently holding 2 shots, Natalie Lewis. And 2 shots, one feels gets her back into this game. She'd be within an end, potentially, of Sarah Boddington in that instance.
I'm sure she would like a tighter bowl than she's got, though, Nick. She is holding the 2, but she's left a lot of room.
Well, for a
At the
player of
moment,
Sarah's
can bot it.
capability,
No, well,
it's not quite there.
Sarah's been playing these longer lengths very well through the tournament, through the pairs, and now here in the singles, but just being thrown by this change of length this end.
Natalie Lewis. She's opted to switch hands. Rowan Wilson being kept out there by Joel Nowes. And that's going to be good. Well, that is going to be number 1. And potentially a 3 count here. So Sarah Boddington, maybe a little bit of pressure being applied all of a sudden. Cameras.
Well, she's having to make a fair adjustment on her opening bowls.
Yeah, the cameras
The
show
3
that
she's
her best
played.
bowl is a fair way away. Now she got the run on this. This should assist. This will go a long way to helping. That's number 1 from Sarah Boddington. Super shot. And
Oh, that's the joy of having 4 bowls in a singles match, Nick, that you can have made a bit of a mess of your first 3 and then just knuckle under, stay calm, and get that 4th bowl in.
well,
Nat conceding the shot there.
the game is 4-bowl singles, so you don't have to do anything until the last if you don't want to. You can just get it done. And it is going to be 1 single shot to Sarah Boddington. She's now 3 shots away from getting over the line. As we see, she's not going to go the full T to T length.
No, she did rather scramble her way out of trouble on that last end, Nick, so I'm not surprised to see her go for quite a different length now.
So Boddington, she has had 1 opportunity to win it. We talk about checkout percentage in the darts. This is she's had 1 opportunity to win the match, but would have taken an excellent shot. And she might back herself. It's 3 shots she needs. 10 shots Natalie Lewis needs to win this contest. That won't go down without a fight, though. As you see, a lovely starter from Sarah Boddington.
She certainly made the most of being able to set her own length.
Well, it's a great reply here from Nat. She's going to get down and
Fabulous.
peel it off. Well, framed it right up. And for Sarah, she played such a good bowl on the back end. I feel that's not available to her anymore. Yeah, she's going to switch. I found Lee. He's sitting there doing absolutely nothing. You can see he's having a chat with one of our scoreboard attendance.
Sarah had a lovely line to just bring the jack through with her there, but just short on the weight, but she will have at least seen the line nicely for her next effort there.
I'm just going to see what we do there. So, not sure which bowl is the shot.
No, the bowl of Nats may have come in for second shot, but in the meantime, she's moved that bowl of Sarah's into a very nice catching position on the trail. So, slightly done a favour for Sarah there. If Sarah can just put that little bit of extra weight on with the same sort of line that she had before, she'd be through there. But it looks to me like she's just left it a bit wider this time, Nick, for being able to trail the jack.
Well, she's getting down
could
really nicely
draw
here.
it.
Get down off her own,
Oh,
squeeze
there.
it across.
Yes.
What's that going to do? Really tight head here.
Very.
And our marker's going to indicate. You keep an eye out for that. See what the indication is. There, Billy. I didn't get much. Well, for Natalie Lewis, looks as though she's going to be looking to get something around the back here.
It does look as though she's going to put the cover in, which would suggest that
Yeah.
Nat feels that she's holding. But it's very hard to see from the camera angle.
Yes, I'll go for the one from the player's end here. This can often give a different feel. And just remember that Natalie does have two in a row lined up there. So
Yes, she does. So it's just hard from that front angle actually to see the one that's closer to the jack. And from the angle from behind the head, the shadow of the white with speckles bowl of Natalie Lewis is just making it appear perhaps closer than it is, but it could be. Sarah's still got a nice opportunity, though, with that bowl of hers sitting in that nice catching position. So whether she's up or whether she's not, she may be playing to try and get that jack back through the gap there. She has come a bit tighter than she did last time, but perhaps the wind's just got it there on that angle this time, pushing it out. That's the side that's being held out on the wind.
now for Nat, she's clapped her hands together. She knows there is a shot on to make a big score here. But I wonder, if you know in singles, you don't necessarily have to play them all the time if you back yourself to do it in ones, but there is a weighted shot on the backhand, can get down, potentially punch out the two blue bowls. The risk is the jack spilling, just to the middle of the rink, but she does have the best back bowl. So we'll see what she opts to do here.
Was wondering, she's playing what you've suggested, Nick, and she's done it very well.
Well, got one out. She was really hopeful to get them both. So it's going to be one only, one feels, although let's have a look at that angle. It could be two. The players will let us know.
Still
One
looks
comes
like
out.
only one from that angle. Yes, they made no attempt to measure the second.
One only. So 22 Boddington, 16 Lewis. We've got a fair way to go, one feels here. I mean, singles, you never know. Somebody could just check out in 3 bowls. But you feel with 2 players of this capability, she's just gone, it's the commentator's curse. Go on and lob the jack into the sandpit. Sarah Boddington, therefore, says we'll wander up a bit further.
Yes, it is unfortunate to give Sarah the opportunity at this point to set the length and to retain last bowl as well.
So, yes, change of length from Sarah. More matches completing. I'll see some of the players, they're making their way back in for lunch. And I'll bring the ticker through. So this is all the finals matches here in the semi-finals. So it is going to be Rowan Wilson. He'll be taking on Peter Taylor. So another battle of our more far-flung regions. The Northern Rivers up against the Southeast. Natasha Van Eldik, we already know, will be one of the finalists in the women's state singles. Will it be Natalie Lewis? Will it be Sarah Boddington? We will see in just a moment. Clay Parker will be our finalist in the men's senior singles, and he will be taking on Michael Clark, who has defeated Steve Sprod, 25 shots to 12. In the women's senior singles, Colleen Starr will be up against, well, it could still be Shotland or Coral Nathan. They're in a really good tussle there, as it's 2 currently to Natalie Lewis. Craig Scott was the first of our finalists in the reserve singles. And Doug Ellery from Canton Beach has come back to defeat Glenn Evans, who led almost all the way. So that will be your final in the reserve singles. That's coming up around 1 p.m. local time. So that's Eastern time. So do make sure you have your notifications turned on. Like, follow and subscribe as we chase 1 billion followers here on the Bowls New South Wales YouTubes.
Nice bowl from Sarah Boddington there to have pulled the jack through away from those 2-shot bowls of Natalie Lewis.
Yes, she's done the right thing. Matt's done the right thing though there, up
She
and
has
over
indeed.
both of her own, and makes shot. That makes it really hard now for Sarah.
It does.
I think she's got to look to play something fairly similar there. There's a kind edge. She plays forehand. There is an edge off Natalie Lewis to get down to the shot bowl. I think she can look to still squeak that out, rattle it around a little bit, or just draw a really good second.
You would think she would be looking to put in another bowl that sticks around pretty close, because otherwise she's leaving Natalie a big opportunity with just that one bowl now in contention. So I think Sarah will be definitely looking to get another one in.
Well,
Just may get
good
an edge
positive
of her own
intent.
there.
Well,
Oh, no.
that's the fortune. And spat that jack out. I'm not sure who has shot currently. I know Sarah won't be ecstatic about getting shot that way if she has claimed.
I don't know that she has. To my eye, it looks as though Natalie would still be holding, but Sarah's at least now got 2 bowls in somewhere. You'd think Natalie will have to switch her hand over on that. Whereas before, Natalie did have a nice opportunity up through her own bowls where she'd been playing and getting that good result. Is that game in the senior women's with Barbara Shotland. Barbara Shotland's played her way into a lot of finals at state level over the years, and she's a very solid player, so I'm not surprised that one's going right down to the wire. Sarah may actually elect to play the same hand that she has been playing there. Nick, she still does have a shot through there and could push one of her own bowls. I don't think it would take much extra distance on one of those, rather than switch to the other hand and rely on the wind, which is holding it out there. It's a trickier ask with that slight side-on wind. I think she may be sticking with what she's been doing. She does have the opportunity to hit onto that bowl of her own and actually spill Natalie's out of it, and she could still make 3 here. She's very close.
Well,
Oh, she may have moved it just far enough to have brought her own bowl in for shot, though.
Mark has got the scoring app at the ready. It's going to be at least one here to Sarah. And
Could have
two.
Yes, I thought
So,
two. She just didn't manage to move everything quite far enough. Her own bowl spilt out of the way as well. If her own bowl had stuck in, that bowl that was down first, she could have actually got the three that she needed right there and then. But she did well to pick up those two shots. Just the one to get now.
just one shot to get. And we'll see if she can secure at this end. Sarah Boddington looking to make her way through to yet another final in a women's singles event. She's just been prolific in this particular format, Billy. You know, champion of champions. You always see her at the pointy end.
Yes.
The region events, you know, she's dominated at region events in the Manning Great Lakes region, and prior to that in the former women's districts and regions up there.
Yes, you do expect to see her through at the state championships in at least one discipline every season. Sometimes it'll be two disciplines, sometimes three or all four, but certainly you do expect to see her here. And it's nice to see Natalie Lewis in such lovely form. She's had a bit of time out of the game here and there over the last few years while she was studying, and then with other family commitments.
Well, yes, life.
Yes, life goes on for these bowlers. They're not. Sometimes people think they're all professional bowlers, but they're not actually. They've got a life to live.
Life
Make their
goes
own
on.
way on things. But nice to see Nat back in very good form at the moment. Not that she was out of form, she was just not in the game for a bit.
Yeah, and look, we see that with a lot of players. You know, I think one of the Maryland's players who is taking a little bit of time away, but we're going to see her here for the junior Inter-Region 7 aside. Katie Astley, who featured so prominently last year at the state
She did indeed.
championships.
A lot of people have asked what happened to Katie
Well,
Astley.
so I can reveal, similar to Nat, she's taken some time for herself to study, to live her own life, she's got a passion for photography, and and just looking to do some other things outside of bowls. She's still playing a little bit here and there, and still very competitive. I think she got knocked over by myself and Di Marquette at the mixed pairs in Canberra about 12 months ago, and I think that put an end to her brilliant career.
You think so, Nick?
Getting knocked off by me. It might have slowed her down a little bit, but no, she's one of the great doers in our sport, and we see here
Natalie building up a very nice lead here for herself.
Well, Sarah Boddington needs one shot, but
Well, she's only got one chance on cutting it back from 3 down at the moment, so I hope that she can make very good use of this last bowl. End in the previous direction where she scrambled her way and finally got a lovely bowl in with that fourth bowl. So we'll
scramble was the right word, Billy. You're exactly right.
See if she can make such good use of the fourth bowl this time.
Well, she's got this on a better track.
She has.
It's
This
all
is
the way
looking
down
good.
to the jack now.
Has she
Sarah
got it,
Boddington, she's holding game. And Natalie Lewis doing the right thing. She's asking what the situation is. Our marker says you are one down. So,
That was a lovely bowl of Sarah's.
well,
Under real pressure.
Yeah, decision time here for Nat. What to do? What to do? I feel as though I've seen her play enough that I think it's going to be attack. The risk is, though, any contact through the front, there's a big chance that the shot bowl can be turned up onto the jack and go with it. So she really wants to be getting, if she's going to attack, she really needs to be getting the middle of the Sarah Boddington bowl rather than an edge. There is an opportunity to trail it backhand, but it's going to take an absolutely perfect shot. I think there's a lot more ways to win with attack. Can really pick her hand, whatever she prefers, and then look to pluck this blue Sarah Boddington bowl out. So down game, it's Natalie Lewis. She's on the forehand. She's going to be close here.
She's got her own bowl.
Gets her own up and over, and that will be the game. Sarah Boddington progresses to the women's singles final. She will meet Natasha Van Eldik. It's been 2 super contests here at the Bowls New South Wales TAB State Championships for 2025-2026. We're going to break momentarily and stop and have some lunch. Ideally, we'll see how everything goes, but I expect that we'll be out at around about 1 o'clock for the finals. It may go off a little bit earlier. We're going to move some cameras around, have some lunch. Billy Mars, it's been lovely to have you.
Thank you, Nick. It's been my pleasure.
And on behalf of Billy Mars, Lee Stinson and the entire Bowls New South Wales team, my name has been Nick Hind. Make sure you like, follow and subscribe. Have your notifications turned on, and we'll be back with you at around 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, it's bye for now.